Hello, this is Safari Catch Up, your speedy, punchy look at the last day in the wilds of Africa.
Fisi is a hyena in our local national language called Swahili or Kiswahili. And that's a young Fisi. And you can see her feeding, pulling out flesh from whatever parts of flesh is told or bone. Now, this hyena is very apprehensive, and I can got a feeling I haven't seen any lion somewhere or lionesses somewhere, but something tells me that possibly there could be a cat not very far from where we are. And actually, the other name for these particular hyenas locally here, we call them the laughing hyenas. And it's true, they laugh, they giggle. Oh, you see what I told you? Now, the one that came has been pushed out because of the lioness that has come very, very close that we were watching before. Look at her in the beautiful sunrise of the Masai Mara.
Hello everyone, look what we have found. Oh my goodness, very, very exciting. Just bumbling along the road, and it looks like these two are on the move, using the road as a bit of a game path this morning. What a treat, incredible. Linda Poley, I know, how awesome is this? What a privilege it is to be able to spend time with rhinos like this here. I can see the different coloration with the rain as well as the soil color that's quite rich in iron oxide, so there's a lot of redness to it. And there's still quite a lot of moisture on the ground, and you can see that's what's shining so much with the sunlight. As oxpeckers are waking up and arriving here too.
Now we've got a nice group of elephant bulls feeding on the crest. Probably 10 of them in this group. Can't see them all, they're scattered across this little area here, but seeing how all of these trees are budding back to life. A week or two ago they were almost all completely free of leaves. Very relaxed, isn't he, Import? See how just over the last few days since the sun's come out after our last rainfall event, watching the elephants now grazing. Obviously there's still a mixed feeding happening, but the grass is getting to that point where they can actually properly graze it with the trunk. You should try and grab grass from the leaves with your hand and see. It has to be a certain length for them to be able to grab it. It needs to be the wrap and pull.
Our sub-adults from the Black Rock Pride have regrouped together. You can see that is a social bond. So this will always be hanging around together. So all these four are males, and it tells you that they're slowly getting off from the pride. So their fathers, who are Oloibor and Manuele, cannot tolerate them anymore. But slowly by slowly they'll be walking out of this territory. So luckily, one of them yesterday managed to pull down a zebra. So they've already mastered the ways of hunting. So once when they were very young, their mothers used to hang around a watering hole like this one here. And now that has taken course. So they've already picked up that it's easy to just go and hang around a watering hole, then just walk in the savannah, just trying to find something to eat, which sometimes can be tiring. So after a good meal like yesterday, so they'll just hang around there.
Now, those rhinos have passed us, but we have a mom and baby giraffe, everyone. In fact, we didn't even see the baby because it was so tiny and well camouflaged earlier. But now it's come out into the open a little bit more, and it is just the cutest thing. Look how cute that. Look at its umbilical cord is still hanging quite long there on its belly. Oh, I would say it's somewhere maybe around 4 weeks old or so. Difficult to say exactly, but it is still very small. And those ossicones, or the little horns on top of its head, have popped up. When a giraffe is born, they are pressed flat against the skull for obviously ease of birth for mom. But after a little while they do come up, so it's not newborn. Jenny, I think there can be some of it. It does shorten, so this one is still very long. It's sort of dangling there, but I think it's around 8 weeks or so that it can come off, even maybe a little bit longer than that. Wow, what a morning we're having here at Mabula. Really something quite special.
Now, a hyena just came in here and made all the vultures to fly, but some are building the courage to come back. So in our midst, we have the white-backed vulture. We got the hooded vultures. If you look carefully there, you see the smaller one, the second from the right. India, through evolution, you will notice vultures will need those feathers, because when they fly up in the air with the broad wings, they will need a lot of thermal energy just to soar, to save their energy. But in a closer look on their heads, and you'll notice the heads have no feathers, the necks have no feathers, and that hygienically helps them not to get any meat scraps on their heads or the necks when they dig in the meat, or to get any sort of bacteria that could maybe give them infections. Apparently, what they eat, they got very strong stomach acid and they are able to break it down.
Wow, BK did an amazing job finding this bird. My goodness me, I just said, oh, there's a Levalence cuckoo calling. And there it is, perched in the tree. You can see that it's very similar to the Jacobins, but it has that black streaking on the throat and the upper chest. They are brood parasites of the arrow-marked Mabula exclusively. So they this and its partner, if it does have one already, will be looking to, the female will be looking to drop her eggs, lay her eggs in a arrow-marked Mabula's nest. I've actually seen a few years ago, it was May, where most of the cuckoos had left, and there was a group of arrow-marked Mabulas with a young Levalence cuckoo in a group together, and it was hilarious to see this massive bird that was a juvenile, a youngster, and these Mabulas would sort of almost for a moment freak out that there was this cuckoo with them, and then the instinct would kick in from sort of the ones who had reared the chick to feed it.
You remember I was talking about pinkfoot. Now look at that particular baby there and the inside. This is the pinkfoot I was talking about. The pinkfoot we saw with Imara. And she disappeared until today. I think Edwin brought some good luck. She's going to join the adults in the water. This is the Mara River. Edna, you're wondering whether the Mara has the highest numbers of hippos in Africa. Apparently not. I'm trying to remember, these river not cross Loangwe. They have the biggest population of hippos in Africa. I think it's Zambia. There's a river in Zambia that has so many hippos, and the river should be Loangwe, something I'm going to try to remember. But the river here, the Mara River, we'll see every 100 meters or 200 meters.
Look at what's happening here. Buffaloes chasing a lioness. There's a lioness just went into the bushes there. So that one was the one that was playing decoy. And right in the back of that herd, there's another lioness advancing to the buffaloes slowly. It's a little bit tight, it's a little bit far from where we are. And those are the lionesses that had the cubs. So, oh, look at that. Now they're retreating back. I think the lioness is getting back towards them. It's a shame we can't see them, but you can tell because of the commotion. Everyone is alert, and those are the ones that you never mess around with them. So as soon as the lions are out of their sight, they retreat back because you don't want to hang around there. So the lioness went straight into the croton bushes. And back row, you can see there's a buffalo staring to the left of the screen, and there's a lioness around there.
Our lioness have risen up and is edging towards these piglets, and not sure what will happen. I am still sitting on the edge of my seat. A lot of goose pimples going on now, and I think she is very now determined either to come for these piglets. These piglets have no idea that there's a predator very, very close to them. I'm looking now at about 60 meters apart. What she's lacking now is good cover. Between the warthogs and her, there's that open area, Anna, you see there, there's that bare area. There's no good cover, and that is not good for her. Oh, they're coming back this way. Erin, they're now not taking cover. They're going in the wrong direction, and we might see now this lioness going to them. Let's find out, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sitting on the edge of my seat. A lot of goose pimples now going on. Look at them. They have no idea she's here, because the baboons are alarming for the lioness, and oh my word, they have just passed. Let it go, go. That was very close.
Look at what's happening here. We have two families. I can see two males and two females and different set of chicks. So we can see that there's some that are a little bit older than the rest. So one interesting thing is that the alpha female is the one that will lay on the eggs, because multiple number of ostriches come and lay their eggs. But interesting thing, the alpha one will place her eggs in the middle and make sure that she sits on the eggs, being assisted by the male, and that is a success for her because the chicks will be monitored by her. So eventually, when they walk into the plains, the ones that lay their eggs in that patch will not be associating with them. So always the alpha male and the female take care of this.
Dung beetles don't discriminate on dung. Different species. There's so many different species. We get 600-700 species in South Africa. Some of them specialize on predator scat. Some of them like the really small dung. Some really like this big stuff. These big poos. Particularly these big, what we call telecoprids as a general grouping. Telecoprids referring to the ones that roll the balls away. I don't know, Paul, if these two are fighting over this one. I think they might be. Might be a male and a female. Look at the size difference of that ball. Oh, that one just lost his nerve. He's booked it. I'm not sure, Gregory. I mean, if there's poo around the cities, then maybe. But these animals are very specifically associated with dung. There's lots of piles of dung, you will get dung beetles. If there's no food resource for them, they don't have the ability to bury dung anywhere, so they're not going through the life cycle under the ground and emerging next season. So I think when the cities were much less developed and there were a lot of horses around and cattle around, yes, there probably would have been tons of dung beetles back in the day. But cities these days have become very sterile environments whereby even majority of the insects, the natural insects that we would find, are far more reduced than they would be out here.
So here we have a very dark giraffe, and then we have a very light giraffe on the left. A few zebras grazing and a very light giraffe. Thank you, Big James. So that has a light color. You can see the difference. It's not different species, just one species. And this is all about age and individual genetics. So males will progressively tend to be darker as they mature and they age. So a dominant bull like that one, which is over there, is a little bit dark, and you can tell that is also a way of showing the increased testosterone level. And it's always important because the females around here, when they come across him, they will see his dark coat. Very, very interesting.
Well, we've followed this big bull. It's actually got a bit of a kinky tail. What happened to your tail, big boy? Not the first elephant that we've seen this week. Oh, I suppose the week has only really begun. Last week we saw an elephant with a very sort of wonky looking tail. Shame. He is impressive. And people always seem to think that the bigger bulls are also quite grumpy, which couldn't be further from the truth. Quite a lot of the time, the big bulls are the more docile, calm, relaxed eddies. Make no mistake though, their temper can change like this. And when they want to, they will chase you. These gents look like they are just wanting to get their next meal. Jeez, it's got massive, massive feet.
we have come across, just turned to the other side of the plain, and we discovered the rest of this herd of eland. And oh, there's so much to see. There are some tiny babies in between coming out, and there's also a huge bull there in the middle. And I wanted to show you the size difference between a male and female eland, just how much bigger he is, and just, I mean, a huge sort of, call it a dewlap, that sort of piece of skin that hangs around the neck, much larger than the females. He's also got a very furry forehead, you can see that. And it looks like they formed somewhat of a nursery with all the little ones as well that are sort of standing together. And I just checked now because I don't think elands have a definite breeding season, but it is said that they do tend to have their births in the wet season when food is plentiful, although they can breed throughout the year. And there are all the little ones, everyone. You can actually see some of those stripes I was talking about that are more prominent in some species, in some sort of genetics than others. It just depends.
A blessing these guys. When the rains came, we started seeing a new friends visiting us, like the grey crown crane that you have here. And I think of all the cranes we got in Africa, for me, these are the most beautiful cranes. Above all, because of their very many colors, but mainly that crest. Sexual dimorphism in this particular bird is always very, very tough. And I've been wondering, what makes the crest, what material it is. And I was doing a bit of research and found out there could be some sort of very stiff feathers, apparently. Thinking, what is the purpose of this particular crest on the heads of these grey crown cranes? What material is it? What is it made of? What purpose does it play? Apart, of course, from making them very, very beautiful. But then I found out they're just kind of some stiff golden yellow feathers on their heads.
Well, we've got some organic material, and there's different stages of breakdown. Now, obviously, what is organic material? We all know what organic material is, but essentially what is happening here, before we saw some elephant dung. This is kind of what it looks like, unprocessed. The dry season, the termites will work that. This is some buffalo dung that's been kind of worked, and this is buffalo dung that has been worked by termites, and then it's been disturbed. Something came along. You can see there's soil particles in here. There's even rocks inside here, as this has been turned into, and continues to be turned into, soil. Okay, so that's what termites do in the dry season. They deal with the organic material, namely dung and cellulose-rich materials that otherwise isn't being dealt with. The dung beetles, for the most part, we know, are very busy in our summer months. And in the winter, there's a lot of poo around, a lot of organic material. Serves a purpose. This stuff over here is covering the ground underneath. So by being here, it is creating a microclimate, a moisture climate, an area that it's just very different underneath. And animals take the organic material and they ferment it. This organic material has not been fermented. Take a very long time to break down. It will break down, but termites and other organisms will have to do that. But once they have been through the digestive system of the likes of a buffalo or an elephant, they are far more broken down into a composted state, that this then is easily broken down by microbes, by many systems on the soil surface that will turn this into soil. Termites are such an important element of that, and you can see that over here.
Got loads and loads of buffaloes here. The Masai Mara is known for huge herds. Even when we don't have the migration of the wildebeest or the zebras or the elands, but the buffaloes could be like a group of 200, 300. And buffaloes are being, ruminants, you can definitely tell. They're ruminating. You can see how they are like going in unison, chewing the cuds from one side to the other. And as it warms up in the day, wherever they find themselves, that's where they will rest. George, I would not want to say the buffaloes would move that much. They definitely migrate, but they do not cover long distance. I mean, from where we are to the boundary of Kenya and Tanzania, the Serengeti National Park, could be another 50, 60 kilometers. Tim is much closer to the Serengeti National Park than me, because me, I'm at the very northwest. But if anything would cover such a little bit longer distance, then the buffaloes would be the ellies. But buffaloes tend to be concentrated in a particular area. They may move from here, drift another 5 kilometers from here, maybe max 10, then come back.
Well, he might have just at the corner of the screen there seen a ground hornbill take off. It was busy walking through the open area here and sifting through the elephant dung, doing exactly what we were talking about earlier, looking for food. Not of the organic material type, but of the multitudes of organisms that can and do breed and survive off of decomposing dung. There's a lovely image.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I give to you, why I believe, the infamous Sibwe, who has been sleeping on this termite mound. And her little one is somewhere here. I think there's a big tumbwurti tree that's coming out of the termite mound. Oh, she's being bothered by flies. It's just understandable at this particular time. Flies do pose themselves as a bit of a menace. Why would you look at that? It's a cuddle puddle. They've shifted. And they're lying down there. Isn't this the cutest thing you've seen? Mom and the little one lying together, asleep. Just roll onto your mouth, that's fine. Oh, Jason, absolutely. This is very special. Very, very special.
Hello everyone, welcome back. We do have a really beautiful sunset. You can just see the colors are coming through now, and the sun is gone, but it's still leaving its mark behind as it descends. We've got this very heavy sort of bank of cloud above us, and then the lower bank, and then some higher clouds in the distance there. Just is quite stunning. And Mabula has given me such wonderful sightings, including that of sunsets. You can see that bank is actually being lit up as that sort of puffy cloud starts to fade with the sun moving. Different rays are being reflected and reaching different angles. How gorgeous is this?
That was a brilliant look at the last day from the wilds of South Africa and the Mara. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. We'll see you next time.